is talking about how Fluttermane and Urshifu are dominating competitive Pokemon. But what are some Pokemon that are currently being underused and are sneaky powerful? I looked at ladder snapshots and recent tournament usage, and here are 5 Pokemon that are currently being overlooked. Enamorous is one of the newest Pokemon that joins the Genie family after its debut in Pokemon Legends Arceus. It is a dual fairy and flying type with the same special attack stat as Fluttermane. Enamorous gets access to some great stab options such as Dazzling Gleam and Moonblast, but also coverage to hit a lot of things in the meta super effectively with Earth Power and Sludge Bomb. What's the most intriguing move Enamorous gets access to though is its signature move, Springtide Storm. This is a 100 base power spread special attack that has a 30% chance to lower each opposing Pokemon's attack stat by 1 stage. Unlike the other Genie's signature attacks of the same variety, Springtide Storm does not bypass the accuracy checks when Rain is active, so it is always just 80% accurate. That's typically why you'll see Dazzling Gleam chosen as the primary option for more consistent spread damage with an Intimidate user on the team. Like the other Genies, Enamorous can transform in between an Incarnate form and a Therian form. Her Incarnate form is more of a glass cannon type with a high base speed stat. With a hidden ability Contrary, you can do some funny things like Side Eerie Impulse to instead increase Enamorous's special attack stat by 2 stages. While a cute strategy, Enamorous isn't able to overcome its weakness of lack of bulk, so it doesn't often get a chance to take advantage of its special attack boost for very long. On the flip side, Enamorous's Therian form could be an actual meta contender. In Therian form, Enamorous reinvests the speed into higher base defense and special defense, and gets access to the hidden ability Overcoat, which makes it immune to Weather Chip, but more importantly powder moves such as Spore. Enamorous can then focus more on being DPS for a team, carrying a damage boosting item such as Life Orb or Choice Specs, allowing for a slow, bulky fairy type that can operate in Trick Room while still using its exceptional special attack. It certainly has a face only a mother could love, and lives up to its name as the love-hate Pokemon, but on the right team, focus more on slow Trick Room options, and Enamorous could serve as a pseudo Fluttermane. Next up, we have Gallerian Moltres. Gallerian Moltres is a regional form that was introduced in Pokemon Sword and Shield that had a short but mighty success period thanks to Dynamax's additional bulk and powerful secondary effects of its stab Dynamax attacks. However, Moltres fell off due to offensive threats power creeping it, something that terastallization can change. With a defensive Poison Terra type and or screens, Moltres is given a lot of space and time to set up to increase its special attack, either through a Nasty Plot or cycling Berserk boosts. Berserk is a great ability that increases Moltres' special attack stat by 1 stage when its HP falls below half, and you can continuously activate that by healing Moltres through a side Pollen Puff or Lunar Blessing. Moltres' signature move Fiery Wrath, dealing spread dark type damage and having a 20% chance to flinch, isn't too bad either. Where Moltres still struggles in this meta is that it does require setup to output valuable damage, and that setup can open it up to getting crit. Spectrier is another overlooked Pokemon in competitive doubles that comes from Galar. Spectrier is very one-dimensional, and its lack of bulk almost always means it requires a Focus Sash, a hot commodity item that makes it difficult to build around Spectrier. But what it does well, and that's damage mitigation. Spectrier is incredibly fast with a base speed stat of 130, allowing it to outspeed most common Fluttermane and Chien-Pao spreads. That means it can hit them with a Will-O-Wisp or Snarl before they hit back, and also without falling to an extreme speed from common partners like Dragonite and Arcanine thanks to its natural ghost typing. Not only that, but Spectrier can also threaten some damage with a Shadow Ball or Hex, with a special attack stat that even eclipses Fluttermane's. Now let's talk about Talonflame. Talonflame may seem like an odd choice to include as an overlooked Pokemon, but ahead of the World Championships, Talonflame hasn't been seen on any of the top placing teams across several large grassroots tournaments. Talonflame originally rose to prominence in Scarlet and Violet thanks to its Gale Wings ability setting Tailwind and firing off flying type attacks at increased priority, and also its support options as a fast Pokemon. Power creep of Pokemon from home into the Regulation D rule set overshadowed Talonflame as the principal Tailwind setter on teams, opting for Tornadus instead. I firmly believe that Talonflame has an unexplored position in this meta. You can still take advantage of the Gale Wings Tailwind stuff, but what Talonflame provides in its other supportive options you can't find in similar combinations on other fast supportive Pokemon. Most Talonflame previously had Will-O-Wisp and Taunt to round out its support set. Talonflame naturally outspeeds most physical threats in the meta, even the common Adamant Chien-Pao, so it's easy to burn them. If the Will-O-Wisp hits, of course. Taunt feels like a must-have on teams, with how much value it brings in shutting off opposing Pokemon status moves for a few turns. Tornadus is also the premier taunt user. The Talonflame can accomplish something that Tornadus and other prankster Pokemon can't, which is targeting Dark-type Pokemon like Grimmsnarl and Nasty Plot setup from Chi-Yu or Gallerian Moltres. In addition, since Taunt isn't priority from Talonflame, it can also shut down opposing Indeedee and Farigiraf, whose abilities won't protect them. Offensively, priority Brave Bird and Acrobatics are still solid options, especially when paired with Chiampao. Acrobatics Talonflame is super neat and was recently used by Kaito Ari to win the Japan Nationals, qualifying him for D2 of this year's World Championships. Brave Bird would usually be the offensive move of choice on Talonflame because it's powerful, but it has a drawback in that Talonflame takes recoil damage, therefore breaking its Gale Wings ability. So Kaito Ari opted for Acrobatics, which got a boost in power because Talonflame wasn't holding an item either. So essentially, it's almost the same base power as Brave Bird, but no recoil. So you can keep using Acrobatics and Tailwind at increased priority until Talonflame takes damage. I wouldn't be too surprised to see a no-item Talonflame, or just a Talonflame in general, on a high-performing Tailwind Hyper offense team at the World Championships. Last but not least, we have Baxcalibur. Baxcalibur is a Pokemon that I wanted to include as a personal sleeper pick. Not just because it's my favorite Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet, but also because it fits the bill as a Pokemon that can perform well in this format. It's got a high base stat total, can hit like a truck, and this is a meta where its signature ability Thermal Exchange could come in even handier than before. If Baxcalibur is hit with a fire-type damaging move, its attack is then increased by 1 stage. It doesn't mitigate the actual damage done, but that's what Assault Vest or even a defensive Terra is for. Baxcalibur can also check a lot of the common meta threats like Landorus, Rillaboom, and Dragonite. It actually has a base attack stat higher than Chiampao, while accomplishing similar types of damage and also having priority Ice Shard to break Focus Sashes and somewhat make up for its middling speed. These are just 5 Pokemon that I think could have great performances at the Pokemon World Championships. But due to the nature of this Worlds being the first official tournament of its format, there are definitely other Pokemon that were not included in this video that could have a great finish or even win the World Championships. So I would love to know if you agree, disagree, or if there's another Pokemon that you have in mind that could be a sneaky underdog for this Worlds. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you soon for the Pokemon World Championships.